Hello, my fellow meatbags, and thanks for swinging by my channel. I thought I would hop into the questions for Christians, questions for atheists kind of sphere that's going on. So many people do this. Why not ask my own questions? And I titled this Seven-ish Questions because some of them are like seven topics. Some of them are like topics that I ask questions about instead of necessarily being singular questions. Now, this will be focused on Christian beliefs, Christianity. I was a Christian. It's what I'm familiar with. I live in America. Most of the people I interact with were Christians. So that's what's familiar. That's the ground we're going to stay in. None of these questions are meant to be gotcha questions or anything like that. The idea is to inspire contemplation and conversation. So hopefully you'll find them interesting, and let's get rolling. So to begin with, the ancient Hebrews were not monotheistic. They practiced a form of polytheism that's called Henotheism, which means they didn't have pantheons like Norse or Greek gods. They believed there were many gods, but theirs was the biggest and the best God. Now, I'm going to leave a source for this. This is the Old Testament lecture, Introduction to the Old Testament lecture series from Yale University. And before some of you start freaking out about secular schools and atheist teachers, the woman who teaches this is a practicing Jew. And before some of you start freaking out about YouTube videos and whether they're worth anything or not, these aren't just random YouTube videos. This is actually a university lecture series that was recorded and presented. I think it's a reasonably reliable source. Because of all that, all the course information is available. You can check their references and citations. The fact is that the early Hebrews were polytheistic. Not only that, but it seems pretty sure that the El God, as in El Shaddai, and the Jehovah God were two different God concepts from early Canaanite mythologies that were merged together into one. And you can see development of this in the Old Testament. And again, if you watch this lecture series, you'll hear talking about that. Now, considering that the Hebrews were polytheistic and that monotheism was a later development, does that in any way raise questions about the foundations of the Christian belief and the Christian faith? Because obviously, all of that is founded in the Old Testament and the Old Testament beliefs. Does it raise any questions for you about how trustworthy and reliable these early text words are? Or even assuming there is a God, how reliable the information in the Bible might be about that God? The message of Jesus' imminent return is explicit and prolific in the New Testament. He uses phrases repeatedly like the last days, the last hours. Jesus himself is purported to have said that he would return within the lifetime of the people that he was teaching to. So if we can assume that he was killed around 33 AD, that means by the end of the first century, people were expecting Jesus to return. In fact, Jesus apparently even said this. Obviously, this has not yet happened. Does the failure of this prophecy to be fulfilled in a manner that seems most explicit with how it was being written down in any way cause you to question or have concerns about the reliability of the prophecy in the New Testament or the reliability of the information that's being conveyed in the New Testament? Even if you want to believe that Jesus was the Son of God and that he is going to return, clearly it wasn't explicitly done in that way. So how trustworthy is the New Testament on this point? As a former Christian and now an atheist engaging in these conversations online and in social media, I and basically every other online atheist that I know is constantly barraged with Christian attempts to hand wave away our deconversions. You never really were a Christian. You were the wrong kind of Christian. You had a brain dead Christian faith. You went to the wrong church. You were focused on you and not God. All of these kinds of things. And I would like to ask you, are you okay with the possibility that someone could be a devout and sincere believer, to be well acquainted with the faith, with the doctrines of the faith, with apologetics from the Christian side, have all this academic understanding, and also have a true faith, and then fall away from that faith and no longer be convinced that it's true. Can you accept that possibility? If no, I'm curious as to why you can't accept that possibility. If yes, does that cause you any discomfort or concern with the security of your own faith or the faith of your loved ones? Do you ever have questions about if this could happen to so and so, could it also happen to me? Does this ever trouble you? One of the chief claims in the New Testament is a test to know that it's true and to know that what the believers claim they believe is true. Chief among these are the unity of the Christian brethren and transformed lives and fruits of the Spirit. Now, obviously, unity of the Christian brethren not only does not exist, it has never existed. Even in the New Testament, in Paul's writings, you can see he was dealing with schisms in the church. There have been massive schisms. There was the Great Schism, the Protestant Reformation, the Troubles in Ireland. There's a constant and bloody history of schisms in the Christian church, and unity of believers just doesn't exist. Also, with the transformed lives, if you look at statistics about things like divorce, teen pregnancy, pornography use, imprisonment, and criminal actions, Christians are on par or sometimes even a little higher than the world in general or non-believers. So there doesn't appear to be transformed lives. From all outward appearances, Christians are just ordinary people like the rest of us. If both of these tests have failed, what confidence can we have in the idea that what the New Testament teaches is true? Does this raise any question in your mind about whether or not what the Bible has to say is true if Christian lives do not reflect the things that the Bible says they will reflect if all of this is true? Many Christians will talk about a personal experience they've had that anchors their faith. The one that comes to mind for me is Justin Brierley in his book Unbelievable. He talks about an experience he had as a young man during his gap year that he attributes to the work of God. Have you had a personal experience like that, or series of experiences, that you feel serve as an anchor to your faith? Have you ever questioned those experiences or your interpretation of those experiences? And if not, why not? Do you think that's a healthy exercise to do? One of the hallmarks of contemporary evangelicalism, especially in America, is their anti-scientific rejection of facts like the age of the earth and biological evolution. And I know some of you are going to be bothered by me using the word fact there. And I know some of you are going to be bothered because I would have been bothered when I was a Christian. I was bothered. I remember watching a special that I believe was hosted by Walter Cronkite. And he came out and said that no matter what you believe, evolution is a fact. And it bothered me. Whether you accept these facts or not, it is clear that the Bible does not teach them and often has passages that seem to contradict them, like the ideas of special creation. Given that framework, how much would you be willing to ignore scientific fact if it was in contradiction to your doctrinal beliefs? Or, conversely, how far are you willing to bend or revise your doctrinal beliefs if there are scientific facts that contradict them? All right, we're going to end on a fun one. You, I'm sure, engage with a lot of atheists online in social media, on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, wherever. What is the one thing that atheists do in these interactions that just drives you crazy and you just wish they would stop? Let me know. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this little video, and I want to thank in advance any Christians that take the time to respond either in the comments or sending me a message or making your own video. I really appreciate you giving me your time. As always, please be kind to one another and I'll see y'all next time.